but the truth. Something that you can use. Can you imagine? You've heard the saying, know the truth and the truth shall set you free. That's what we're all about. Learning. It's a great experience to be understand what is true about ourselves, about who we truly are. But before we get started, I'm going to give some, especially you new listeners, give thanks to all you new listeners, and I know we have many. But I want to give some thanks to the people that make the show possible. We have our new engineer here, Mr. Joe Marmolejo, right? Thank you very much, Joe, for joining our team here. And I want to give thanks to our webmaster, Mr. Joel Strausser, and my co-host and producer, Michael, that you just heard just a moment ago. Thank you all very much. And before we get started today, I'm doing something a little different. I'm always telling you about something that is very important, but I usually do it at the end of the show. Today, I want to let you know about something that is very important. That if you know anyone who suffers with any type of irregularities with their heart, a fast heartbeat, slow heartbeat, irregular heartbeat, they're experiencing dizziness or fainting or any of those things, we highly, highly recommend the brilliant Dr. Duong. So important. He is an electrophysiologist. You may have never heard of that before, but you need to look into it. He's in the most advanced technologies of the heart, and I highly recommend him. And his number is 877-773-8664. I'm going to repeat that: 877-773-8664. Check it out. Okay. Want to get into a little bit of what we talk about here. What we teach is human nature. That's why we call this the Truth Only Show, because what else is true when you understand your own true nature of how you're made, how you're, we mostly talk about not the physical part, but your mind, the way your mind works and the way life responds to the way you think, the way you believe. Actually, the way that you are believing about yourself is the direction, the way that your life moves in the direction of your belief. If you believe in limitations, you live a limited life. If you believe in expansion and growth, then you will be expanding and growing. It is actually very simple. It's a very simple concept about yourself, your true human nature. And in this sense, no one is different. This, what I just said, this rule that I just talked about, this law that it's a law that I just talked about, isn't any different for you than anybody else, okay? We're all the same in that sense. That's why it is so important to understand your true nature, okay? Our topic today is, what is greatness? We're going to take a look at that term because I think it is very misunderstood concept. It is that concept means many different things to many people, but we want to take a look at that and let's see how it applies in your life. What do you believe about greatness, and what do you understand about greatness? We're going to get into that a little bit today. You know, greatness can bring a lot of suffering to people. And, there's a lot of truth to it. And I think you have seen it for yourselves. I mean, greatness can be a person's downfall. Let me give you some examples. We see it a lot in the celebrities. They reach these great levels in their music, in the entertainment business, and what they feel this greatness. But what I believe is their thinking is in the wrong place. They have misplaced this concept of greatness, and they've too many of them feel like they need to be recognized. And some of them have that, when they have that need to be recognized and sometimes even idolized, what happens is when they lose that, there's a lot of confusion comes into their lives. When they lose that, the being idolized by the people, they don't know what's happening anymore, and they get confused, and a lot of them begin to spiral down in their lives because of it. They don't know what to do anymore, and they don't know how to get it back. Many of them don't know how to get it back, and it causes a lot of confusion, a lot of stress, and a lot of problems in their lives. I mean, that applies to celebrities, it applies to politicians. The same thing happens with a lot of politicians. They need to be praised and idolized, and when they don't have that, it causes a lot of problems with them too. So this being great, considered great by many people, can have its benefits, but it can also have its downfalls. You know, especially when the problem comes in is when you need to be recognized. You need to be idolized for your greatness. That's where the problem comes in. And, you know, that also exists in many levels of society. You know, just take doctors, for example. Sometimes your boss at the job, sometimes the owners of the companies, many of them, people consider them as being great, being greater than them. It's what I'm trying to say. And they also need to be idolized sometimes. They need to be praised by everyone. And that's where the problems comes in. When using your greatness for that purpose, to shine over other people, that's where the problems come in with it. And I really want to give you what is the real purpose of greatness. And the reason I'm talking about this is because every single human being alive has greatness within them. No one has any more than anybody else. That's something that you need to remember. Everyone has greatness in them. Maybe you just have never brought it out. Maybe you just never realized it. But that is part of your nature. That is human nature. That everyone has the same greatness within him. Sure, in different aspects, you know, some may be in the sports, in sports, some may be in entertainment, some may be in science, some might be in literature, but your greatness, wherever it is, it's there in art, whatever. But you have something within you. Everyone does. Now, here's where the difference with the purpose, what I believe to be the purpose of greatness. First of all, greatness is not something to be idolized for. You know, it's really for becoming an example to others. It's becoming an example of being an example and showing others how they can bring out their greatness. That's the real purpose of greatness. Actually, what it is to evolve the species. It is really to evolve the species. It's to raise everyone up. It is not to take it on yourself to be idolized. I think that's the only thing that will ever give you true happiness, is when you are an example and raising others up, and even raising up people to go beyond you, to become greater than what you have ever done. That's the real purpose of greatness. And like I said, that is the only way human beings can really be happy in life. And that is the only way you can continue to grow. By becoming greater at what you do, what you do is you teach people that you show them the way, how they can become an example to others. You teach them how they can be great. And you can teach them that it is possible to them also. The more you understand this concept, what I'm talking about here, the greater you can become. Because there is no limits to your greatness. There isn't any limits to your greatness. But when you're just using it to be idolized, you're limiting yourself. Because your focus is too much on yourself. But when you use this greatness, like I said, to bring the greatness out of others, that's when you will continue to grow, because life will continue to guide you and lead you to greater possibilities. It will lead and guide you to much greater things than you can ever imagine on your own. Because that's the purpose of life. To expand, to grow, to contribute to the species. That's a totally different way of looking at this. Now, our big mistake that many, many, many people do, the confusion or the misunderstanding of this concept of greatness is when we fall into the trap of raising others up, of raising people up, like putting them on a shelf. There's different shelves, different levels of greatness where we place other people. What happens when you do that, when you begin to place others at a greater level than yourself, what you're doing in reality is bringing yourself down. You can never see your greatness when you're applying this principle to someone else. Somebody else is greater than you. Somebody is better than you. Somebody is born better, born special, different than you. That's where your problems come in. And we can see it all around you. All you got to do is look around and you can see that going on all around you. Is raising people up, idolizing other people, even to the point of hero worship. Allowing others to think for you. That is a disastrous mistake. When all along the greatness, whatever you think they are great in, you have something great within yourself. Everyone, remember, everyone has greatness within them. That is part of your nature. And there are no exceptions. There's no exceptions to this rule. It's just, greatness is just hidden. It's buried deep down within yourself. And as I said, the problem comes in where it's very difficult to bring out your greatness is when you have made others greater than yourself. When you idolize other people. Because I'm going to tell you, the whole truth of the matter is that those people that we have placed way, way up on a pedestal, that we've actually hero worshipped, the people that we've really considered to be great, in reality, we have totally lost the message that they were trying to give us. I mean, the message they were really trying to give us was never, ever anything about themselves. They were never talking about themselves. They were never trying to make themselves greater than you. What they were doing in reality was trying to bring out and expose your greatness. That's what they were really trying to do. And they were never looking for our praise and our adorations, never. The problem is we have allowed others to do our thinking for us, and we've fallen into that trap of believing in their superiority, their greatness, so great that we could never be anything even close to them. And that's totally opposite of what they were trying to teach. I mean, I think about it this way. Look at it this way. If it's not human nature. I mean, I think the natural way to be, just for example, as a father. The natural way for a father to feel, a father doesn't want his children to idolize and praise him and like if he's something special. I don't think that's natural for a parent to feel. I think what a parent naturally wants his children to be raised up to great heights, greater heights than he had ever been able to accomplish in his life. That is what true human nature is. Wanting your children to be raised to a greater level of joy, peace, and happiness, greater than you could ever accomplish yourself. And I think these great leaders, these great teachers are the same. They're not any different. They were never expecting all this praise and adoration. They were trying to get you to see who you truly are. They were trying to see how great you truly are, to bring it out of you. And if you go back and look and study and really take a look and stop letting others think for you, take a look at what they were really trying to teach. They were really trying to teach you how great you are. That is what they were really trying to do. And you will never see that as long as you allow others to do your thinking for you. That's why I say their message has been lost. Their true message has been lost and has been changed by others who misunderstood what they were really trying to do. And it started thousands of years ago, and it has continued on till this very day. And because of it, that's why we have all these things going on in the world. That's why war never ends. That's why human suffering never ends. That's why there is anger, frustration, hatred, jealousies. That's why all of those things exist in the world, because we are allowing others to do our thinking for us, instead of really looking into the truths that have been taught to us. Or should I say, have been ignored. And we've had so many people giving us all these false concepts that continue on. Actually, many of the leaders of these different groups actually despise each other. Think about it. So, that's the whole point of this, is try to get you to think about this term greatness. What does it really mean? What does it really mean to you? The only way you will ever really understand this term is when you start taking a look at reality, the way things really are. There is this greatness within you. You just have never brought it out. That's all. It's laying there dormant within you. It is there. You know, it is fine to, I admire people that are accomplishing great things. I admire them. But I don't make less of myself because somebody is accomplished, or maybe accomplished more than I have. I don't make less of myself. I use them as an example to myself, to let me know that I can begin to produce greater things in my life. Use them as an example, not as an exception. Remember, greatness is within you. And don't ever forget it. Don't go away. We're going to take a little short break. And I want to remind you that you're listening to KCAA 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, and 106.5 FM here on the Truth Only Show. You can find us at trutholyshow.com. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
On a Sunday afternoon, really couldn't get away too soon. I can't imagine anything that's better. The world is ours whenever we're together. There ain't a place I like to be instead of moving down a crowded avenue to anything we like to do. There's always lots of things that we can see. We can't be anyone we'd like to be. And all those happy people we could meet just moving on a Sunday afternoon. Really couldn't get away too soon. No, 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 no. We'll keep on spending sunny days this way. We're gonna talk and laugh our time away. I feel it coming closer day by day. Life would be ecstasy, you and me endlessly moving on a Sunday afternoon. Really couldn't get away too soon. No, 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 no.
That was good.
All right, welcome back to the Truth Only Show. That song is called Groovin' by the Rascals. We're here talking about greatness. And I think this topic is really interesting because I've never heard anyone talk about it, but I think it's totally true when you're giving your talk. Because I see that all the time, especially with like musicians. People say that all the time. Everyone's heard like they have magazine covers that say guitar gods on you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, and you see in comments on YouTube is like, oh man, he's so good. He's like not even human. It's inhuman how good he is. Or it's like all the time people describe musicians like that all the time.
Yeah. And well, you know, you can see it, and you can see that happening a lot. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with admiring people because they've accomplished something. There's nothing wrong with it. That's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is when your adoration is misplaced. You know, when it's taken to another level of...
When it's taken too far.
Yeah, it's taken a little too far, and what you're doing, when it's taken too far, you're bringing yourself down.
And I think people don't realize that they're doing that.
Right. Most people don't realize that.
Because they're just, because it's a normal thing, just like when you really like something to be like, oh, you're just saying, oh, he's so amazing, he's so good, that, and then you take it to the next level where you're like, oh, he's inhuman, he's unnatural, and I think some people don't notice it, but I also feel like, and tell me what you think about this is what I was thinking when you were giving your talk, is that I think that people may say that kind of stuff, maybe subconsciously, maybe consciously, to make themselves feel better, or to give themselves an excuse for not being as good as them.
Yeah, I'm sure there's all kinds of reasons behind it. You know,
But I mean,
then
'cause if
people
you're
aren't really
saying like,
conscious
oh,
of it.
he's a god, he's special, that gives you reason why you're not doing the same thing.
Right, right. That's why I say you're holding yourself back.
Yeah.
Whenever you have those feelings, you hold yourself back because there's something for you to do. There's something for everybody to do.
Mm-hmm.
And greatness is there within everybody. There's nobody, and we're not any different in that sense. That's just part of our nature. We have greatness within us, and that is our nature.
So you're saying people shouldn't like be worshiping these people, or not even necessarily worshiping, or saying that your real problem is that saying that they're somehow different than you, right?
Right. That they're born special, that they have anything different than you.
Or they just have a special talent that you don't have.
Well,
Or what?
They may have a different talent than
Mm-hmm.
you, but you have one also.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They may have a different talent. You know, some things come easier for us than some things come easy for us, and it's harder for somebody else. But something else comes easier to them that's hard for us. I mean,
Yeah.
but we all have a great talent, and there's no limits to how we can develop that talent, whatever it is. You know.
So I know like there's a lot of people that I see doing amazing things, and how should you think about it if you shouldn't be saying, oh, they're special, they're great? What kind of things would you say when you see somebody like that, or what do you say when you see somebody who has amazing talent?
Well, you know, when I've seen some of the most amazing things that I've seen human beings do. One of them was a guitar player. Okay, one of the most amazing things I've ever seen done. It just what it should do is inspire you to realize that there are no limits even to yourself at whatever you can learn to do. There's no limits. I mean, you see people doing things that are almost unbelievable, right?
Yes.
They're almost unbelievable.
Yes.
But that should let you know that that is within you too. You can also develop your talent, whatever that is, and you can do unbelievable things also if you really focus your attention on it. That's all. That's it. But they're not any greater than you. You just haven't brought yours out. You haven't brought out your talent. That's all. You're not working on it. What you're doing, spending too much time idolizing other people and putting them up high on a shelf, higher than you can ever reach. That's it. That's the problem.
So people should. It's perfectly fine to admire people,
Well, of course, yeah.
but realize that they're doing that because they have the same capacity for greatness. That's the word I wrote down while you were talking.
Exactly.
That everyone has the same capacity for greatness. It's just who's putting in the time to do it.
Right.
Right?
Who's the one that discovered he has a little bit of this and he just went after it. And he kept going after it. And that's it. And he's just put his time into it. That's all.
For example, Prince, right? They just released a new song from him that was previously unreleased, and they released a new video and like unseen footage of him like rehearsing and stuff. And you know, he's one of those people that people say he's godly, he's unnatural, like he's inhuman, how he's so good he is, which yes, he really is amazing. But in this video they posted it's the new video for Nothing Compares to You, and it has a lot of footage of him rehearsing. And I saw people saying in the comments, and which is true, like you can see him, all of that skill and talent he has, you don't see all the hours and hours and hours he spent rehearsing that show. That's why that show is so flawless. When he goes on stage and it's an amazing show, it's because he spent 1,000 hours practicing that show. But you don't see that. You only see the finished product.
Right. Right.
And that's with everyone that you see that you think is amazing and so talented. Well, you should have saw them, when they first started practicing. You probably would have been like, oh, it's not very good.
Well, I mean, everybody, when they start out, they're not any good at it.
Mhm.
They're lousy. Let's just be honest. They're lousy, everybody, when they start. Whatever you do, you're not good at it. That's simple. I'm just using a word extreme, saying they're lousy, because he was lousy when he first started.
Yeah.
But
Or even when he's doing something brand new or they're working on the show, you can obviously see, like, oh, well, they're still working on that.
Right.
That's not done yet. But then
Yeah.
when you see it done, it's wow.
so to look at things the way they truly are, people that have accomplished great things, it's only and only, no other reason, only because they put thousands of hours at it. That's the only reason. How many hours just developing your talent? How many hours do you think you've put into it?
I have no idea. I
Have
know how
they
many
been-
years.
Have they been thousands?
Well, I don't know how many hours in a year. Because I've spent, I don't know, 15 years or something like that.
Okay, so thousands of hours, so we can say, right?
Yeah.
So now, if people see what you're doing, and people should come and come in and see the Bell City Players, and you're going to see what we're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about. Check them out online, bellcityplayers.com, and you're going to
8,000.
check out.
8,700 hours in a year.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
8,700.
8,000. So
yeah, there you go.
So how,
thousands.
how many thousands of hours? And everybody else that you know that are really good at what they're doing, they've all put thousands of hours. So let's get this idolizing and praising. Give them credit, of course. I give them a lot of credit. Anybody who's put hundreds of thousands of, I give them a lot of credit for putting all the time in. And I admire them for that. But I don't place them above me. Maybe I just haven't put in
You
that
respect
time.
them.
Right, I respect them and everything else. But if you do that, you will also bring out your greatness. That's all we're saying here. This is only common sense. We're not talking rocket science. We're not talking anything that's complicated or anything so spiritual or so any of that. We're just telling you the truth about who you truly are. That's all we're doing. You haven't put in the thousands of hours? Okay, that's fine. But don't put yourself down for it.
And now there's another aspect of, now that's for watching other people and saying, yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
But what about for yourself? You were talking also about in your own thing. I think you basically were saying, like, don't let it get to your head, or don't be doing, you need to be trying to reach greatness and yeah, you're trying to reach greatness, but you need to be doing it with the right kind of intentions, right?
Right.
Could you explain that again?
Right. You have to have the right intention. What is it for? What are you doing it for? Are you doing it to be idolized and praised, like some kind of be worshipped, like many are? Because if you're doing it for that reason, you're going to have a big crash. You're going to come crashing down one day when people stop idolizing and praising you. You don't know what's going to happen to you. You're going to go downhill pretty fast. And that, I'm sure you have seen that many, many times with entertainers, with politicians, with anybody that even in just positions of authority, when they lose their authority, they don't know what to do anymore. So if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, you're not only that, you are also going to be limited to the level that you can reach. But what Michael was asking about here was this: what is its real purpose of greatness? The real purpose of greatness, and when there are no limits to how great you've become, is when you're doing it for the right reason. And the right reason is to become an example and continue to grow and get greater and greater and greater, but be an example and help anybody else that wants to also come along. And believe me, do not ever have competition in your mind. You have no competition. Forget it. There is no reason to compete against anyone, because your greatness is all within you to bring out. It doesn't matter what somebody else is doing. They're not going to hold you back. No one can hold you back. Just become greater and greater and greater in what you do, and be an example and help somebody else that wants to be there. Don't be worried that they're going to, because you let them shine, they're going to knock you out. No, forget that. Mm-hmm. Just keep working on your art, your talent, your whatever it is that you have, and you will get greater and greater and greater. And don't have that need for the admiration and glory and all that many do, because that's a disastrous mistake.
I could see what you're saying when you're only satisfaction out of, because there's many ways that you can get satisfaction from expressing your talent. You could get satisfaction from just doing it because you enjoy doing it,
and making people happy.
But like you're saying, if your main part of your joy comes from the praise and adulation you get for being so good, like you're saying, that may not last forever, or that's not. You need to have another reason. And I think that when you're doing that over and over, if you're doing what you're talking about, what you should be doing is inspiring other people and helping others be great. Now that's something that you can look back on and say, look at all these people that I've helped or affected.
That you influenced. Right, yeah.
And that could be great satisfaction. I could see after you've pushed out of your prime, you see all the people that you've affected.
Of course, and that's the only way. That's where true happiness comes in, and to live your life and really be happy. That's the only really way you can be happy.
I think there's a lot of people like that too. But I think we've maybe have all heard that story before. Is like, the teacher that's looking for a student. They don't really want students. They'll do it for money, but they want the students that really want to learn. They'll teach them for free, basically. And it's like, those are the people that are great. They don't want to teach just anybody. They want to teach people that are really want to learn. Right. And it's like, they're doing the right thing, I would suppose. You'd say they're trying to help the next people coming up.
Right.
Well, I had an example, but I don't think we have time for that. Let's take a quick break, and I'll tell you somebody who is doing exactly what you're talking about and living this greatness the way you're saying he should.
Okay. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
It's a beautiful morning. I think I'll go outside for a while. The street is clean, fresh air gone. Singing inside a different weather's fine and you got the time. Short chance to wake up and face another brand new day. Either way, it's beautiful.
All right, welcome back to the Truth Only Show. That song is called A Beautiful Morning by the Rascals. And that's a great song, speaking of greatness. And so was the other great Rascals song. When I left off, I was telling you I wanted to tell you about somebody who's doing exactly what you say is the right way to be living your greatness, basically. Have you heard of the director Kevin Smith? I think I've talked about him before on the show. He directed the movie Clerks and Mallrats and all kinds of stuff. And
Jersey Girl.
Jersey Girl. He's done all kinds of movies.
Okay.
And he's been a successful director for years and years and years. For about maybe 25 years or something like that. And people kind of do that. Because he's kind of got his own cult of personality. It's not just like his movies. He actually puts himself out there. He does podcasts. So he's always has a close connection with his fans and his audience.
Okay.
And what he does where you're talking about in his shows and whenever he's in front of people, he usually ends his shows by saying this. He's like, if you like what I do and, you love what I do, he's like, I didn't do anything. He's like, all I did was put my own story on the TV, on the screen. I saw that in the movies, like, there wasn't anyone telling a story like I lived in my hometown. Yeah. And then I did that. I made that story. I told my own story, and people liked it, and it made me who I am, because I did that. Yeah. And he's like, so all of you people listening, be a creator like I am. Mm-hmm. Be a creator. Go out, make something, make whatever you want to make. Don't wait for anybody else to help you make it. If you have an idea for a movie, go out there, film it. If you have an idea for a podcast, start recording it. If you have an idea for a comic book, make your comic book. Mm-hmm. And create your own thing. It's like, and if people like it, they like it. If they don't, it's like, at least you have your own thing and say, I made this, and you can get that sense of accomplishment. But his whole point is basically like, I didn't do anything special. I just made something that I wanted to make, and it took off. And he's like, so don't wait around. Do what you can, make what you can, do it now, and you could have a career as well. So basically he's trying to inspire everybody. That's how he ends most of his shows. Go out, be a creator. He wants everyone to be a creator and experience the joy that he's experienced by being a creator. Yeah,
and what obviously then he sees the people, he doesn't even know many of them. He doesn't know them anyway.
There's too many. There's too many.
He doesn't know them, but he knows what they have inside of them. Yeah. He knows that they can do what he did, maybe in a different way or whatever, but he knows that they have something within them. That's exactly what we're saying.
And he talks about that. He's like, I told my story. Tell your story.
Right. That's what we're saying here. I mean, he can see that everybody's got potential. That's the way I see everybody. Everyone has great potential. They just have been, we've been beat down so bad by sermons, by speeches, by all this stuff. We've been beat down so bad that, many people find it difficult to pick themselves up. And I would really encourage anybody, to try to look at things in a different way. Let me give you one example. The people that we have all considered to be the greatest human beings that have ever lived, okay? And some of you have taken it to the extreme of saying they weren't even human, okay? I think you know who I'm talking about. The greatest humans that have ever accomplished greatest things in this life, the most famous of all, never intended for you to be idolizing them and praising them like something special. That was never their intention. And if you go back with an open mind and look at what they were talking about.
You're talking about our great teachers, right?
Right. The greatest teachers ever. If you go back and look at what they were talking about, they were really talking about your greatness and how you can bring it out, and how you can become great, and how you have it in you to become great. That was their whole purpose. In other words, they were only trying to be an example and never the exception. They had never intended to be the exception, but mankind has turned it around and made them the exception, to where actually that beats us all down. That lowers us. That lowers you down to a lower level, to where you can't even pick yourself up anymore, because they reach some heights that are not even possible to anybody. So that's why I say we've been beat down by sermons and speeches and all these other things where it is so false. That is why, just look around in this world, that's why we have endless war, endless fighting, endless struggle, endless worry, endless depression, endless stress. That's why it all exists, because the only thing that will set you free is the truth. And that is what we are giving you here on this show. Nothing but the truth.
I think those great teachers, you know, the people we consider prophets, and, you know, the leaders of religion, whatever, they just got so great that people didn't know what to do. And I think maybe it's a natural thing when you don't know any better.
When you don't know
any better to do that, because that's what people do with all these musicians. And you know, and I'm sure seeing somebody who's even greater than that, you'd be so amazed that you would naturally, if you weren't thinking about it, say that, oh, they're a god. You know what I mean? And it's like, and there's 1,000 songs, like Christian songs, that I could think of that say, like, I am weak, I'm so weak, I need your help, help me, I got no strength, I need no. And there's some of them are good songs, but but it's like the words are really a downer.
and one of those,
I need you to raise me up. I'm a waste, yeah.
And one of those great teachers that you're talking about said that it is done unto you as you believe. Look what they're believing.
Yeah.
So what's your life going to be if that's what you're believing about yourself? That's what they were trying to teach. That is exactly what they're trying to teach, that change your belief about yourself and your life will change. That's what we talk about every single week on this show, is trying to see if people can realize what we're teaching them is the truth, that if you change what you're believing about yourself, your life will change. And it's all within you. It's not outside of you. Stop looking outside. It's within you.
Let me read you a little bit of these lyrics. This is from a song called Just a Closer Walk with Thee. I mean, it's a famous song. I love the song. I think it's a great song. But the words are it says, I am weak, but thou art strong. When my feeble life is over, time will be no more. You know, it's a lot of, like, very negative stuff about yourself.
Exactly.
That and this is, you know, kind of a representation of the whole idea behind a lot of churches is like, I'm weak, I need help. And anyway, going back to the Kevin Smith thing, there's one more thing. When doing what he's been doing for years, telling people to do what they're, you know, what they want to do, be a creator, he gets people, he does question and answers sessions all the time. So people come up to him all the time, and you hear it on his podcast, and they say, I've been a huge fan of you. I've followed you for years. I love what you're doing, and I appreciate the fact that you tell people to go out and do it, and you've inspired me, and I've started my own podcast. I've made my own movie. I've made my own thing. I've done this. I've done that. All these people come up to him and just tell him that you inspired me to do it because you said I could do it. And so people appreciate when you're doing that, and those people are going to be real fans because they set them down the real path of what they want to be doing.
Right. So the whole message here is this, really, isn't what we're really saying is that become the greatest example that you can become. just continue working. Get greater and greater and greater at whatever you do. Become a greater example. And you're going to have there was no limits to what you're going to accomplish anymore. When your purpose is to become a great example, not an exception, but a great example, then there are no limits. No limits to what you're going to accomplish. Life will respond to what you are searching for. If you're searching for greatness to be an example, life will just continue to lead you in that direction. And what else can be greater than that? Nothing. There isn't anything greater than that. An example and helping others to do what you do and go beyond you. So,
well, that's pretty much the time we have for today, and we would like to thank you for listening to The Truth Only Show, and we'd like to invite you to go to trutholnyshow.com, because on trutholnyshow.com, I believe you can see the latest video will be up there, correct? Am I correct?
Yeah, I think we have our last 3 shows. So now this will be the 3rd show since we got video.
You can watch us there on the website, and there's an audio player, so you can play us while you're doing whatever, you're driving to work or whatever, right on that website. It's trutholnyshow.com, and there's video, there's audio, and you can find all of our podcasts available as audio, and our latest ones will be up as video. That's at trutholyshow.com, and email us at truthonlyshow@gmail.com, and check us out, send it to a friend.
And I just want to remind you that not only being an example to others to bring out your greatness, but you can also just help somebody else. I mean, if you want to just do something to somebody else, just tell them about our show. Because you know what? We never talk about anything crazy. We never talk about anything that's too far out, anything religious. We never talk about any of those things. We're just telling you the truth about the way it is. That's the way life is. That's the way that is what your true nature is. And there is nothing greater than understanding, knowing yourself. There is nothing greater than really knowing yourself and learning to take control of your life and everything in it. Everything, life in all aspects. I mean, with your relationships, with your finances, with your goals, with your accomplishments, with whatever you want to accomplish. If you need some guidance, that's what we're here to do. We're here to guide you along so you can do great things in life and bring out all your greatness. That's what this is all about. And I know you know many people that are hurting. There are many people that are hurting. There are many people that are struggling with vices and things like that. I know that they could use this show. I know that. Because it's a matter of learning to control your exterior world. So I just want to remind you, you're listening to the David Paul Band. Go to davidpaulmusic.com. Check out the calendar for a fantastic night of entertainment. And also go to the bellcityplayers.com and check them out. And check out their calendar and then all their videos and stuff like that. And we'll see you next week. Thank you very much.
Update starts now.
Seventh heaven for the NBA. I'm Jeff Biggs, and a big night tonight on tap, and tomorrow night as well. Game 7s of both conference finals for the first time since 1979. Tonight, Game 7 of the East from Boston, with LeBron looking to lead the Cavs yet again.
You got to be poised. You got to be able to handle a punch or two.